Let me just set up my screen really quick to all messages. And let me look behind my tripod here. Go over to my live. Yeah, if you guys are watching the chat, make sure you set your chat from top chat to live chat if you'd like to see all the messages. Now, if you're watching on the replay, it takes 24 hours for them to reload. Because YouTube needs to process the video for some reason. Yeah, I've never understood that. Oh boy. It is what it is. Let me just type in the goal. Got to get a different hype horn or something. Something that won't scare my animals. 14 people in the house. Wow, I'm just still setting up the chat. Some days it's finicky. Let me try to catch it up now so that my computer screen and my phone screen are all on the same page. Oh boy, it's being problematic today, isn't it? Let me try that again. There I am. Well, that only took 1 minute and 56 seconds. Rita Close, hello. You're first. Patricia, hello. Falek, hello. Are you new here? Jewel Giacana, my first pip of the day. Let me just let some people come in. Gosh, can you hear that? The neighbor's back from, well, I can't say where he was because it's his private business, but there's somebody up there walking boom, 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 like they're wearing Frankenstein shoes. And I hear it all night long. No, I don't know a lot about that, Janice, but I know who you're talking about. And I can't spell her last name either. She says, hello, April. Do you know anything about the Hayden, the P case? Panantero or something like that. Can't spell her last name. Don't know. Thank you for the thumbs up, Patricia. Boy, it's so distracting. Boom, 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 boom. Sometimes I think it's an earthquake, like if I'm starting to doze off and I hear the cracking of the walls or the floor or the ceiling. I'm like, oh, here it comes, and then I realize it's just my neighbor. Watching 857 Tucson at the home invasion. Yeah, I heard about that, Mimi. Yeah. I don't think it's related to Nancy Guthrie, but I did hear about it because I know, somebody was fatally wounded in that. Crime happens, even in Tucson. Yeah, there's, this case has drawn attention to, Tucson. It's as it was described in a prior video, it's a little big city, but everybody knows everybody through the 1 degree of separation and every little thing that happens there now. And this isn't a little thing, this is a big thing because, home invasion during the daytime and somebody got, fatally wounded. Another person's in the hospital. It's a scary world we live in. I didn't like living in an apartment real noisy. I don't like living in an apartment either. Noah cop in training and his girlfriend. Yep, I heard about it. Yep, he was from Tucson PD. He was a cadet and a former correctional officer. And apparently his fiance was also a correctional officer. My neighbors wear cowboy boots up and down, clomp, clomp, clomp all night. He paces back and forth. Know your pain. Yeah. And of course today, it's actually hot outside. And if you've been watching me, that the AC, it doesn't work very well when it's hot outside. And LEDWP, which is, part of the city of Los Angeles, they have turned off the thermostat several times today going, eco, eco. And I can't turn that off when I'm doing a live unless I, pause the camera and then get up and walk over there. And if I just stand in front of it and wave my hand, then it comes back on. It's just stupid, Okay, 29 people in the house. Let's get this thing going. I'm April Davis, PI. I'm a licensed California private investigator. I am mostly retired due to medical issues. physical medical issues. Yeah, stage 3 breast cancer survivor here. And I simply report the news. Yesterday, somebody came in and said, "Oh, you're stealing somebody's um, picture." Like, no, I got it off of Google and it wasn't copyrighted. "Oh, you're not a true crime channel." And I'm like, "Yeah, you're right. I'm not a true crime channel. I am a little bit about everything channel. I have a variety channel. I started this the end of December 2020 just to document my life since breast cancer. That's all this was about. Now, it started moving towards a newsy type channel. And yeah, I'm pretty good at true crime because I've been a detective for 42 years. But no, I don't rip off pictures. And no, this isn't a true crime channel. But I do have a true crime playlist, and I have a Nancy Guthrie playlist, and I also have a news playlist where you can see all these videos. Yeah, Mimi, trolls, gotta love them. And before I tell you about today's story, I just have to remind everybody, politely speaking, because I don't want anybody here to get offended, or if somebody's watching this on the playback. I've been getting a lot of messages, either through my private email or through my Instagram DMs or my Facebook IMs. People, I just got to say that's not cool. I'm an open book. You have my mailing address in Studio City, my business box, and you have my channel email. It's aprildavispi@gmail.com. I do read every one of them. Can I get back to everybody on them? No. But my IMs are blowing up now, even in the middle of the night while I'm trying to sleep. I use that IM for my private, and I do say private, Facebook. And remember, I do have a membership thing. And if you look at the levels, which are silver, platinum, or silver, gold, and platinum, level 2, gold level, allows people to friend me, on my social media, which is typically private. So I may have opened up the floodgates, and that's my fault for doing that, because that's just for the paid members that are at that level. And it's getting out of control. And this isn't directed towards any one person, because it's just coming at me like day and night. I wish I could watch, every YouTube video that's made by every other YouTuber. I wish I had 1,000 hours in every day, but we're only got 24-hour days. And I'm, just trying to keep myself and my pets alive and make it to my doctor's appointments and do the show every day it's overwhelming. So, yeah, please, if you need to reach me on aprildavispi@gmail. How long were you a PI? I was 35 years full time, and then I was diagnosed with stage 3, grade 3 breast cancer, and I still technically have the business open, and I still have my license, so 42 years, but I haven't been able to work full time since the cancer diagnosis. In fact, I was already starting to go part time before that because I was sick for so long. Let's see. This is a Tucson background. Let's see, the green screen. Let's see, Mark, why you always got Tucson background when you live in California? Because we're talking about the Nancy Guthrie case today. Sometimes I have the LA background, I have the Hollywood background, I have the downtown LA background. Sometime at night sometimes we do the Santa Monica Pier, or we'll go to Paris, or we'll just be out in the desert somewhere with the stars. But this is about Nancy Guthrie. And Nancy Guthrie is happening in Pima County, Arizona. Thus, the Pima County green screen. Let's see. I am sorry I informed you. Inform me of what? Did I miss something? Oh, do you mean I am me? Like I said, it's not directed at anybody in particular, but it's out of control. And I think I need to just close up the Facebook to, my private friends and family. But I do, I open my heart to everybody here. You can comment in a video, you can comment in my chat, you can send me a private email and I'll keep it private. You can send me something in the mail, you can write me a letter. April Jenkins, another April. Oh, welcome in, another April. I don't see that very often. I pray for you all the time, Mama, and your cancer. Thank you for always keeping us updated about Jackie. I know, I saw a picture today about Jackie, and they were showing some of her blood clots, but they still haven't released all the medical info yet. So we still don't know what was causing her anemia. And I'm still interested to know how that all turns out, because maybe, you know, that information can help protect the other eagles in the habitat. I owned the Side Door Saloon on Benson Highway 25 years ago. Glad we got out of Tucson. Yeah, I'm hearing that it's just not the same anymore, but no place is the same anymore. Even LA, we have a tremendous homeless population here, because people come here because the weather's perfect, 10 months out of the year. We're in that really sucky time now. Greetings to you, Margaret. Cigarros rule. Yeah, aren't they beautiful? We don't have those here. California doesn't look like Tucson. Get off the drugs. Who said that California looks like Tucson? Did I miss something? Okay. You know what? Who said that? Yeah, you know what? We can't talk about drugs here. So, Mark, I have to take you out for today. Come back and visit me tomorrow, Mark. No arguing in the chat. That's one of the rules. Snappy Man, thank you so much for the first super chat of the day. Are you new here, Snappy Man? I don't think I've seen you before. Everybody give Snappy Man a thumbs up. I'm going to go over to my desktop and I'm going to give you a heart on that. Yeah, it really helps the channel. All those, $1 and $2 super chats, they really do add up, as do the jewels. So I really appreciate that. And thank you. I know she's not in here yet, but Sandra, I did receive your $2 PayPal yesterday that you mentioned in the chat. I did receive that after I got off the air. So if you're watching this on the replay, Sandra Cosby in Atlanta, this is for you. Snappy Man says, I am a newer member. Oh, thank you. Did you come in through the Jackie videos, or did you come in through the Nancy videos? Hey, Brian Montre. Hey, Pauline 9242. Okay, let me get into this. I've just complained about how busy I am, but I do watch the other YouTubers when I can about what's going on in the Nancy Guthrie case. And I was really interested in a video, and I've seen this before because several other YouTubers have put this out there, but one of the boots on the ground YouTubers did a tour of the neighborhood where Nancy Guthrie, or not Nancy Guthrie, but Annie Guthrie Sione has her little jewelry warehouse. And I think he clipped it from a longer, like a live, I'm not sure, but whatever part I saw, or no, that was the phone call. The phone call with Connie was a clip from the live, but this, I must have been watching part of a live because the chat was going. Yeah, there was a replay of the chat. So yeah, it had to be a live if the chat was there. And he was just like driving through Tucson towards downtown, and he was going over to the warehouse, which, by the way, it's really sketch. I mean, it's just like everything about that family, at least that side of the family seems sketch to me. And remember, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. But the point I'm trying to make is that people started talking about the 911 call that was made by either Annie or Tommaso, by the family, the day that Nancy went missing, because someone called them and said she didn't show up at my house for church. And so they went over there and they called 911. And then, the sheriff released the original timeline. Then he changed the timeline. Then he went back to the old timeline. There's multiple timelines, people. But we're going to go with 11:56 a.m. Not that's when they got to the house, but supposedly that's when they called 911. And a lot of people in a lot of my former shows have said, how come they haven't released that yet? And my answer was because obviously there's something in that 911 call that is considered a piece of evidence in an active criminal investigation. And yeah, do I think it should be released? Absolutely. But if they haven't released it yet, which apparently they have not, although you can file through the Freedom of Information Act, you can file a request, which, by the way, I did today. I filed a request. Now, will I get it? Probably not. Or by the time they answer me and go, yeah, you can have it for $10, it'll probably already be released to the world through somebody else and I won't need it anymore. But I did make that request. And while he was driving, this other YouTuber, somebody whose name was Truth Seeker Girl sent him a $9.99 super chat. And this is what she said. Now, he read it a little differently than how she typed it, but, remember, he was driving and he was at a red light in traffic. So she says, and now this is just somebody that I don't even know who came into somebody else's YouTube channel and made a statement like this. I think Tomato may have called 911. Ashley Manfield said in a video that it is sealed because allegedly there is a female voice in the background saying in the background, you said this won't happen. Now, when the YouTuber read this, because remember he was sitting in traffic at a traffic light, getting ready to drive and getting ready to have to turn. And so, he was looking for the directions and, multitasking at the moment. He read it as, you said this wouldn't happen. But she typed it as, you said this won't happen. Okay. And he said that he had heard that before. And maybe that's why he read it back like that, because maybe he had heard it from other people. You said this wouldn't happen. But the lady, it's right here. It's public information. She typed it as a woman in the background saying in the background, you said this won't happen. You could take that as a lot of different ways. Remember, everybody, everyone on my channel is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Thank you for the eagle emoji, April Jenkins. Hello, Marcy. Hello, Jan B. You found me through the Jackie video, Snappy. Well, thank you for coming into this. Yeah, I do a lot of everything. You guys go to my playlist. There's something here for everybody. I know, me too, Susan, but I'd have to be near the hospital. And I don't know if my heart with the arrhythmias could handle the high altitude. I'd have to check about that. But I've been up there for work, Susan. Not recently, but it's beautiful. I would love to rent an apartment in Big Bear Valley, but it's so expensive. It probably couldn't be as expensive as LA in the valley, but I don't know. I don't know how many apartments they have up there, but I have a friend who's a retired entertainment business person, and he and his wife both are, and they have a daughter that lives up there in a house, and they love it. Oh, it just, they would have weather, they would have wildlife. I could be out there with the live cameras, like filming the wildlife. I would love to live up there. I just don't think that would be possible for me. But yeah, I would love to, that's one place that I would actually move. Yes, that neighbor called JLR. It was a good interview. Oh, you mean Connie? Yeah, I don't think she's like one of our Connies, because we got 3 Connies now. Connie LA, who's one of my mods. We got a Connie E and a Connie I. They're all channel members. But that was a Connie in Tucson. And that was a good phone call. Jackie West says, hi, April Pips and Peps. JMB, April Davis, hello. Hello back to you. Susan, ignore all the idiotic trollers. You are a great person, April, and your channel is always so informative. You know, Susan, I don't even let it get to me. I'm not that stupid to call somebody out and call them a kidnapper and a murderer. I'm not that stupid to use copyrighted music. Everything you see in my videos that has music, it's either allowed through shorts or it's music that I pay for, because I pay for music rights through Epidemic Sound. If anybody wants to know where do I get my music on my long form videos, I pay for that, and it's not cheap. Epidemic Sound. I am a PI. There are a lot of copyright investigations and lawsuits out there, so you won't see me getting in any trouble here. Masked men do tell. Yeah, apparently there was a home invasion robbery today in Tucson, and one person is fatally injured and the other is in a hospital. Yeah. Thanks for replying, Cozy Sunflower. Mom, I didn't even see that. So yeah, this was somebody else's super chat, and they said that they heard this information through Ashley Manfield, that she said it in a video. Now, sometimes I do watch Ashley Manfield, but I haven't watched her in a very, very long time. because I just don't have the time. She's also the one who said from the very beginning of this case that, tomato, tomato, Tommaso, Tommy, Tomas, whatever you want to call him, that he was a only suspect and the prime suspect. But does that mean that he's involved? No. Does that mean that information was even true? No, although I tend to believe it. I tend to believe her sources, but I like to, as a PI, I am an expert at body language, and I don't like their body language. But I'm not going to say that they did it or that they hired somebody to do it, because I really don't know. I'm more focused on the waiters, like front porch guy and driver, and who got into the house, and who was scoping out that house and surveilling that house in advance. And I would love to know all the forensic accounting information that's in this case that involves everybody. I do have a lot of questions. There are a tremendous amount of red flags. I'm not going to go over all of them in this chat. You guys can see my suspect video. Now, if you guys want to put in the chat what you think the red flags are, or who you think might be involved in this, or what you think this really was, let me know. That's why we're here. That's why it's an open chat. And if you want to just type it in, or you want to send me a private message through my email, aprildavispi@gmail, or you want to send me a letter, whatever. And I won't read it on the air unless you tell me to. Like yesterday, somebody sent me a gift and a card, and they wanted me to show it all on the air. So I did. Now, my gift, it's hung up in my bedroom right now. So if you want to see that, you'll have to see yesterday's live. But yeah, everybody put in whatever you think happened in this situation. I hope this case is solved, but I'm starting to worry because the Pima County Sheriff is the leading agency on this case, and they're the agency that really messed this case up from day one. The FBI, they're secondary in this case, sadly. I'm just trying to go back. Oh, thank you for all the thumbs up on Snappy Man's super chat. Really appreciate that. And thanks for finding me through Jackie. Yeah, and I'll continue to make, more videos on the Eagle situation as the information becomes available. Because I really think knowing what happened will be helpful to the wildlife just in general in that area. Let's see. So, yeah, I really appreciate, the YouTubers that are the boots on the ground. I just don't have time to listen to all of them. I've heard most of their names, but, I just see clips here and there, or I'll just see portions of the live. But I just thought that was an interesting rumor because I hadn't heard that one. Just like lately, everybody's talking about the Vermont rumor as far as where Annie and Tommaso could be living, staying, vacationing, or even hiding. Yeah, I'd like to know that. Are they not living in their house for their own security? Do they think that there's a threat against them? Is there a threat against them? Is it just because 80 to 85% of the world population thinks that they're somehow involved, even if they're not? Truthfully, I don't know. I do see a lot of red flags. I don't like the body language. Doesn't mean they're involved. Remember, everybody thought the Ramseys were involved in the JonBenet Ramsey case, and the Ramseys have been legally and officially cleared. And I said from day one, 30 years ago, that those people didn't do it. And apparently they didn't. So now, will that case ever be solved? No. Too many mistakes made in the case. And that's what scares me with this case. Too many mistakes have been made. The first 24 to 48 hours is the most important part in a criminal investigation. You got to get on it quickly. And you don't treat it like, a silver alert, meaning a missing senior who just walked out of her house because she, got lost and, passed out in the desert, or, no, that's not what this was. And I don't think this is a robbery, and I don't think this was a home invasion, and I don't think this was a burglary, or, the case of we had the wrong house. Oops, absolutely not. Was this a typical kidnap? No, because kidnappers don't send ransom notes to TMZ and to news stations, and they don't stay in a house for a minimum of 41 or 42 minutes, whatever it was. There's nothing typical about this case. But is it what I think it is? It's either number one, related to Savannah, or number two, it is somebody that is close to her. Okay? Because they knew the property. They knew the inside out. They knew the house. They knew the outside. They knew the alarms, or the lack thereof, the cameras, lack thereof, what systems she had or didn't have. No stranger would have just come into the Catalina foothills and just went, okay, we're going after that house. Absolutely no way. This was a planned, targeted operation, and it's probably going to be a little bit of both. It's probably going to be the Savannah factor and somebody close to her, because 75 to 92 or 93% of all kidnappings and homicides are committed by somebody you know. And the first person or people that the police look into are the people that were last seen with the victim. Now, does that mean that they're involved? Absolutely not. But, there are red flags. I am an expert in body language, and I don't like the body language. Doesn't mean that, they're kidnappers and murderers. Doesn't mean that they're not. Time will tell. But remember, people, the truth always comes out. So, whoever's carrying this burden, or the spouse of somebody that's carrying this burden, do the right thing. Turn them in. File for the reward. I'm sure everybody here in this chat, could use an extra 1.2 million. I know I could. I'd be less concerned about my medical bills, my future medical bills, my future care. God forbid I have to go to assisted living or end up in a friggin' nursing home. Of course, I don't think I'd live very long in a nursing home because everybody's sick. I'd have COVID in, 72 hours and boom, I'd be gone. With the way my heart doesn't beat right and I can't breathe right because my heart doesn't beat. Like if I moved into a nursing home and I got a cold or a flu or COVID, pneumonia, boom, I'd be gone. And my, 6,000 to 8,000 to 10,000 a month nursing home bill, I wouldn't even have to worry about it anymore. I'd just be more worried about my pets. But, could I use 1.2 million on a limited disability income with a very small YouTube channel that hasn't made enough money to even break even over 5 years and 7 months? Yeah, I'd take it. So, fess up, people. Turn them in. If you're the wife of somebody, or the girlfriend or the fiance or the mother or the sister or the aunt, turn them in. Go for it. You can even get the money anonymously, but I wouldn't be anonymous. I've already called the FBI twice. I've written not letters, but a letter, one letter, 8 pages. Yeah, this is April Davis PI, and I think you need to check this out. Am I investigating the case? No. But, I have made a living my entire adult life as a licensed detective. There are things they need to check out. Hello, did you hear about the incident in Pima County? Yes. Hey, Doug Dillner, haven't seen you in a while. The chat got kind of quiet, but we have 64 people. I'm like, am I still on the air? Or am I just talking to myself, to the air? And the bunny's like, hey, shut up. I'm trying to sleep. The cat's sleeping, the bunny's sleeping, and I'm like, yak, 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 yak. Turn them in for what? For kidnapping and murder. That's why we're here, Reloading Fun. We're here on the Nancy Guthrie case, day number 200. Somebody make that call. But I would call the FBI before I would call the sheriff's department, because I don't trust the sheriff's department in this. Reloading Fun, you're not with the rest of us. You got nothing better to do. Don't waste my time. Hey, Kelsers. Welcome in, my friend. What's so bad about a kidnapping? Oh my God. You know, the more subs that I get, the more that's going to happen. And I usually just block people for 24 hours because I could, I'm still I'm a small enough channel where I need the clicks. But at some point, I'm just going to say F it, and I'm just going to just block all these very stupid people. Oh my gosh. Remember yesterday I was a photo thief. It's funny though. I really wish, I'm not kidding when I say this. I wish I had kept a log. If I had known once the YouTube channel started to grow that I would get some of these ridiculous comments and messages, because I mean, I could write a book about, I could make money off of a book like The Dumbest Things You Hear on YouTube. I'd probably sell 1 million copies. I'd be set overnight. If there was a way I could go back to every single comment that's been deleted, every video where somebody has said something that they shouldn't have said, I could be rich. I could just do a video that could get like 1 million views, and it could blow up. I haven't seen you on my shorts in a while. Oh, okay. I'm still here, Doug. Mostly Dolls Helicopters. Welcome in. You are a pip. Starting to feel like it's that time of the day where my power's been cut again. Let me go check it. Whoops. Give me 10 seconds. Start counting. It's actually running. It's just so hot in here that it can't catch up. Here we go. I am back. Yeah, it's, I showed you this yesterday. This is one of 2 power bills. This is almost $300. And it's uncomfortable in here. It's just ridiculous. So that person that typed in they'd love to live in an apartment in Big Bear, if I could handle the elevation and I was close to a hospital and an electrophysiologist, cardiologist, then I could do it. But I'd have to have an oncologist up there too. So I think the medical facilities would be limited up there. But if I was like stage 4 and they're like, you're just gonna be dead in 3 weeks, I'd be like, bring it on, let's go up and rent a cabin up there and have a party. Yeah, well, even if she died, Doug, he says a kidnapping is bad enough, but a murder makes it even worse. I do think that she was taken. I hesitated to call it a kidnapping, but the FBI agent that I consulted with, who's not involved in this case, said, well, if they took her from her house involuntarily, then it is a kidnapping, technically. Now, what the motive was for them taking her, we still don't know. Because those ransom notes, they could be fakes or they could be red herrings. But when somebody dies in the commission of a homicide, even if it was just an accident, like she had a heart attack and she died, or she didn't have her medication, plus, she was scared and she was going into shock and her heart was racing, which it was, according to her pacemaker records, and she, unexpectedly died because they really didn't understand, that it's going to be stressful for an 84-year-old woman to be kidnapped. They would still be charged with a first-degree homicide because it happened in the commission of a felony. I mean, if we found out that she was alive somewhere, I would be shocked. Like, I wouldn't even believe it because I just don't think that she is. And I think that she died rather quickly because the people that were writing the ransom notes, whether they were real or they were faked or they were red herrings, or it was just someone trying to financially benefit from somebody else's tragedy, those notes, from the first writer, from the first IP address, they just seem to give up on this rather quickly when they didn't get the money. Bugs Bunny knows more than the FBI. You know, Big Daddy, sometimes that's actually true. Speaking from experience. I think they know more than the Pima County Sheriff, but are they the tops of the top? Not always. But they have, CSI equipment and DNA access and special labs and things like that. Yeah, and I'm sure like every other federal law enforcement agency, they're probably understaffed. Even the Secret Service is understaffed. But that is pretty funny. I have to give you that, Big Daddy. Mostly Dolls Helicopter sent us Sunday. That's the first jewel of the day. Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, so did anybody else hear the rumor? Do you believe the rumor? In my opinion, the people who took Nancy wanted her unalive. That's what I thought from the beginning. I really did. And I even considered the possibility that she was unalive before this ever happened, and what happened didn't really happen. But then when I heard about the physical evidence inside the house and outside the house and the blood and the oxygenated blood and, and I've seen some of the pictures that have been highlighted, now I believe that she did make it home that night and something happened there. But what is the true motive here? Kidnapping for ransom? Because it certainly looks like a weird kidnapping for ransom case, just in my opinion. Or did somebody want her to no longer be with us for financial motives? There are so many possibilities, and we could go down so many rabbit holes. But I guarantee you, someone who's involved in this, it's got to be somebody close, whether it's a relative, a worker that came to the house, somebody that worked for her, somebody that knew her, a neighbor, someone in the neighborhood working. It's going to be, there's going to be a connection there. But I also have to go with the Savannah factor. But this really doesn't look like the lone wolf type of situation. But as soon as I heard about this, before I even knew it was a kidnapping, before we knew anything about this other than she was a missing senior, I was like, oh my God, she's been kidnapped because she's the 84-year-old mom of Savannah Guthrie. Like, celebrities and their family members have targets on their back. And that could easily explain why Annie and Tommaso and their child has gone MIA. But yet, on the other hand, the most likely target, if the family is being targeted because of Savannah, would be Savannah. But Savannah, she's out walking around. I mean, she's not just doing the Today Show and going into airports and flying to Wordle. And she went to NBC Universal down the street from my house to do production meetings. But she was out at the World Cup with friends and her husband. Like just walking around like, I didn't see any bodyguards sitting with them. Now, they could have been surrounded by bodyguards, and we just didn't see that in the picture. But they were just like out in public, presumably without security. Hi, April. Hope you're doing well. Thank you, Lady Shore. Welcome in. One of my pips. I always thought it was family involvement. Always. Could be. But remember, I can't say that here. I can just say that everybody on my channel is innocent until proven guilty. If Nancy made it home, when did T get back home? That's a very good question. Yes, A and T have been hiding. According to the neighbor that didn't even know them, didn't even know that they were living next door to her, nobody's been in that house since the first week of May. Maybe they needed to wait for their car to be returned. Yeah, 41, 42 days or something for the car. Like, they spent more time at that house with that car than they have spent with Nancy's car and being at Nancy's house. Stacks? Oh my God, where have you been? What's new? Just jumping on. Let me go over to my desktop and heart that. Everybody give Stacks a thumbs up. Only second super chat of the day. Appreciate you, man. I was just reading this. Somebody sent a super chat the other night, not to me, but to another YouTuber while he was driving, going out to see Nancy's daughter's, well, Annie's, jewelry warehouse. And someone sent a super chat to him saying that they heard a rumor through Ashley Banfield that the 911 call has leaked to somebody, and through, a secret source or whatever, it's been leaked that, Tomato may have made the call. She said that Tomato may have made the call to 911, and that there's allegedly a female voice in the background that says in the background, you said that won't happen. And the YouTuber I was watching, when he was like, sitting on a red light and, trying to navigate, his GPS, was like, he read it as, you said that wouldn't happen. And he said he'd heard that rumor before too. I never heard Ashley Banfield say that, but apparently, well, allegedly, rumored, speculatively, it's in an Ashley Banfield video where she has a secret source who said that it was Tomato that made the call and that there's a female voice. All I know is that the call is still sealed. The police are not releasing it, although I did put in an online request today with the Pima County Sheriff's Department for the 911 audio, which, by the way, if they decide to give it to me, it'll cost me $10, but, I'll use my super chats for that. But I don't expect to be getting that anytime soon. Kelsers, I think we will hear something very soon after DC court date, which is coming up. Kelsers, I hope you're right. I like the way you think. Good for you, April. Thank you, Lady Shore. Roxanne, welcome in. I watched that video with the interview with Tommaso and Annie's neighbor. All the neighbors think they were involved. Yeah. You guys can think anything you want. Everybody here is innocent until proven guilty. Stack says, I hope to hear something every day. Yeah, I was hoping that even some of these bones and all these bodies that are being found, we're up to number 4, I think. At least that's 4 that have made the news. Plus, don't forget about the lady in Tucson that was found in the wash. So there was a lady in Tucson that was a Native American. There were the Native American or presumed Native American bones that were found that were, ancient or something. There was the lady that was found dead either behind or in the church parking lot on a Sunday. 66-year-old woman, she's been identified. There was the bones that were, 4 or 5 miles from her house. I don't think those have been identified yet. Now there's the second set of bones that are, 19 miles, 18 miles? And I thought it was to the north, but no, it was like southwest, like in the desert or someplace. I've talked about it on videos, and they were bleached white, which means they've been out in the sun a long time. They don't even know yet if that's a man or a woman, but I guess based on the condition of the bones, they're not connecting those bones at this time to the Nancy Guthrie case. Now, I don't want her to be dead, but, realistically, she probably is. And I'd rather her be found than never found. So, I'm sorry, whoever those people are, people die. People die every day, especially in the desert. That could have been somebody taking a walk or taking a hike and they just passed. That could be a homicide victim that was placed there or dumped there. I hope they find out who it is. But a lot of times those kind of people are never, ever identified. Now, more people are identified now than, 30 years ago because of DNA. But, the coroner's office, they can only hold on to those remains for so long. And if they're not claimed at some point, they usually get, at least in LA, they get discarded on a yearly basis in a group cremation and a group burial. I don't know what happens in Pima County, but, I feel bad for whoever is, waiting for that family member to come home. Geez, if going to Arizona, Tucson, stay safe. Seems so many are in the desert. Yeah, there's a lot. Roxanne, even if they don't find out who did it, it would be nice to find her bones if there are any so the family can have closure and she can be put to rest. Absolutely, Roxanne. Um, oh, wow. Kelser says there was some bones here found near me around the same age as Nancy. It was a silver alert who died in our heat. That is so sad. That just scares the bejesus out of me because, that could happen to any one of us if we live long enough. Um, I still check my door and, check my camera so many times now. Like, I'm so, like, on hyper alert even here. And I'm used to, like, having to be extra cautious just because of what I do for a living or what I did for a living. But, um, I think about this, especially in the middle of the night. Lady Shore says, me too. I think about it a lot in the middle of the night. So sad, and I always check on my elderly neighbors just in case. Yeah, we had an elderly neighbor upstairs, and things didn't end well for her, and she ended up evicted and homeless. It was really sad, and she was having cognitive issues, and I'm probably the old neighbor now. I'm the elderly neighbor that people check on now. My neighbor who travels all the time, he was getting ready to go out of the country, and he texted me to let me know his schedule and where he was going and did I need anything before he left. Like, because I'm the elderly one that people check on now. Well, me and the other lady that got hauled away in the ambulance the other night, when I thought maybe the building was on fire during my live. Um, yes, it's so creepy important to check on our elderly in our neighborhoods. Yeah. Yeah, I still check on an old client from years ago, and he's in his 90s, and he's in a rehab facility now, if he's even still with us, because it's been a couple weeks since we talked, but I need to call, make sure he's still with the living. It's not looking good. And he's in his mid-90s. He's had a wonderful life, but I don't want him to suffer either, just sitting there in the rehab hospital. Oh, that's just sad. Uh, your world is crazy, so much crime. Uh, I've made a living off of crime, Lady Shore. I've made a living investigating crime, not committing crimes, but investigating crimes. If it weren't for the crazies and the idiot people in the world, the morons of the world, I wouldn't have been able to make a living the way I did. Yes, pray for closure. Poor Nancy to rest in peace if she's gone. Not your world, our world. Oh, okay. Our world is crazy, so much crime. Okay, I was like, uh, thankful for people like you to solve crimes. Yeah, we come in as the specialists because a lot of times the police can't do anything, especially when it's like celebrity stalking and harassment, until they're actually dead. And, you know, we come in a lot of times, not only after crimes have happened, but before crimes happen because there's a threat of a crime. And we come in as, a preventative measure, whether it's investigations or security or both. Oh, and then there's just a lot of people that are, regular, average, everyday people that are the victim of fraud. And there's a lot of elder abuse and, you know, abuse in nursing homes. And I've been involved in all of that in my career. Thank you, Lady Shore. Such an interesting life you have. It hasn't always been perfect, let me tell you. It has not been an easy life, Lady Shore. Never been easy. It seems like I've always had the odds stacked against me. But I'm so happy to have this YouTube channel and to have all you friends coming in. But yeah, had anybody else heard the rumor? The rumor about the 911 call? That's just a rumor. It's not substantiated. That would be tough with elder abuse cases, very hard on a person. Yes. Those cases are hard, but what's really hard is the SA cases involving like kids or even animals. Ugh, I hate that. Like animal abuse or child abuse. Yeah, it's in the beginning of this video, Roxanne, about the 911 call rumor. That's why I'm here today. Yeah, it's rumored that a male made that 911 call from Nancy's. Hey, Humble. Have there been any updates on pending test results taken on Jackie? Other than I saw a copy of the CAT scan that showed her blood clots today, but I have not heard the final, the necropsy report. I still want to know what caused this to happen to her, because maybe it could protect some of the other wildlife in the habitat. I know, Lady Shore, those are the toughest ones. Those always bother me. I get very, very sensitive to those. Remember when the authorities were looking for Gabby Petito, how many other bodies were found? Exactly. And let me tell you, if they would let somebody like the Cajun Navy come in, or, a professional search group like that, they would find even more people that are lost or missing or dead. I'm sorry, but they would. And that could help somebody else, it could help somebody else's family. Like, even if they didn't find Nancy, but they found somebody else. And they even said, I almost guarantee we would find, other people while we're looking for her. Roxanne, I agree. Yes, no more fireworks. Massachusetts has outlawed it now, but that hasn't happened yet in California. Although in LA County, it's illegal, but it doesn't stop people. Well, that's just a rumor. We don't know that for sure, because the 911 call is still sealed. So I have ordered the transcript on that. I have ordered the audio on that, but I'm sure they're going to tell me like it's sealed. But they did ask for my email address as to where they can send me the bill. Oh, thank you, Humble. Roxanne, I'm like family that were found out in the middle of the desert that were the family that were found out in the middle of the desert that were buried the McVeighs. Are those the people that were in the California desert off the 15? I hear a bunch of people outside my door, but for some reason, everybody in this complex stops right outside my door because I'm near the lobby to go yakety 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 yak. Anyone watching the Tupac trial? Nope. Lady Shore says, my dogs freak out with fireworks. Yeah, my cat does. They shake and panic, so I no longer enjoy fireworks. Yeah, I haven't been anywhere for 4th of July in decades because I'm always with my animals. Lady Shore says, yes, it's a rumor. We shall see, hopefully in the near future, about the 911 call. Yeah, I would like to know who made the call, and I would like to know about any conversation that was accidentally overheard in the background, possibly. No more fireworks in Big Bear that releases toxic metals and percolates into the water, and then the fish get sick. And if an eagle eats the fish, they're sick, and why don't they go to drones? Exactly. That would be so easy to do. We will see what happens. Pauline says, I have to go. See you on the next live. Okay, thanks for coming, Pauline. Yes, I do remember that, Roxanne. That's the one I was thinking about. I just didn't remember their names. He had a business partner and they lived in San Diego. They found him in the desert by Hesperia. That was like the whole family too, wasn't it? Like a husband and a wife and their kids. Yeah, I remember that. That's horrible. Absolutely horrible. There was a big case like that in the San Fernando Valley, but it was in the 70s. And the 70s was the only decade that I wasn't here, because I was here in the 60s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, and all the way to today. And I had a typist that worked for me, and she typed specifically just for people in the PI business. And she knew everything about everything that was going on with everybody. And she loved me like family. She loved me like a daughter. And she, I would learn so much about what was going on in my own industry just by having her as a typist. And that's not why I had her. I hired her because she was really good. She was the one that introduced me into Maine Coon cats. Like, she was wonderful. And her brother was a really famous Hollywood film director. And she was like, "Were you here in the 70s?" And I'm like, "No." And she told me about this family from Northridge that disappeared and they've never been found. And the lady, the wife's sister, she came from England or someplace to become a PI in California to investigate. And I'm like, "Oh, I know who you're talking about." I've never met her in person, but that lady's called me before. She sent me emails like, "I know who you're talking about." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, didn't you know the background?" And they were that famous family from Northridge that was missing, and it's been unsolved. But she was telling me all the nitty gritty about that one, and she even thought she knew where they were. And she's like, "Oh, that was on all types of TV shows, talk shows, crime shows. That was like a huge case." And I'm like, I was just a kid in the 70s, and we didn't live out here. That was the only decade that I did not live in California, so I had never heard of that case. But I did know of the family member that was investigating it. Lady Shore, how is your kitty and bunny? I used to have a French lop. I adored them. Oh, how cute. They're sleeping right now. They're trying to just wait until the thermostat comes down a few notches in here. Roxanne, we have so many people have signed the petition for a couple of years, thousands and thousands. Disaster was more than 5,000, but they're saying that the fireworks brings too much money into, yeah, okay. I understand part of that. Well, never found. Can you imagine? Yeah, it was an entire family, a mother and a father and 2 kids. But my typist, she pretty was sure where they were and how they'll never be found. And who was involved and why. It was like, oh my God, that's huge. Oh, you're a good mama. I hope so. That's why I live every day. They're my family. Remember, like, my parents are gone. My cousins live in Tulsa in South Carolina, and I haven't seen them in decades. My grandparents all died when I was just a little kid. I've never had any aunts other than an aunt by marriage, and she passed. Last time I saw her, I was like 20. I had lunch with her in South Carolina. Like, some of my friends are gone or moved. Like, I hardly got anybody left. I feel like an orphan now. Maybe I should have got married and had lots of kids and had grandkids by now. I got my Thai family though, thank God. But if I had done all that, then I wouldn't have been able to do the career that I did. And I probably wouldn't have never tried YouTube. Because I really miss my filming days, in the PI business, filming. So I like going out and doing long form videos, but nobody was watching those. Everybody was watching my live. So here we are. Wasn't the valley out in San Fernando Valley? Yep. And Moorpark and so forth, more sparsely populated back in the 60s. There is a Moorpark up in Ventura County that's to the north of Simi Valley, but that's not the same Moorpark as the Moorpark Street in Studio City where I have my business box. And in the 60s, when we lived out here, we were on the west side, and it was filled, but probably not as much as it is today. Just hope after the DC court date we hear something from Pima County or FBI. You know what? That's wishful thinking, Kelsers, but I hope you're right. Because I just think it's weird that some random joker who is connected through the 6 degrees of separation to just about everybody that's involved in this 3-ring circus would just have Annie Tomaso's personal cell numbers, and then they would, send a text ransom and make a phone call and not tell anybody that they texted or that they called where to send the Bitcoin. How can you demand Bitcoin in a ransom, but you don't tell anybody where to send it? And you're like, hey, what about my Bitcoin? I'm waiting to complete the transaction. Like, duh. That almost sounds like a business transaction. Or a transaction amongst friends, like, hey, hey, Bessie, what happened to my Bitcoin? That doesn't sound like a random person that's just going to make a fake ransom demand is going to say, this is where I want you to send the ransom. Oh. Oh. Oh, Jackie says, you got us, April. I do. Got everybody's back here. Lady Shore, I know that things change. It's hard over the years. I'm happy you have your 2 pets who you adore. Yep. Yes, Bazaar, maybe he's talking and how he got the plea deal. Well, we will see what happens with that. We'll see how he does in his rehab and what happens. Wasn't he in a band? Yes, he was. And knew Tommaso. Well, he was in a band called Secret Mutilator. And Tommaso was in, was it Early Black? But they played the same type of music. And supposedly this DJ Mojito promoted them in Tucson, and they performed in some of the same clubs. Now, have they ever met? Don't know. But it's in that same weird group of people that's just into the weird music, and it's connected to some of the people that are the Wiccans, and I mean, we got witches involved in this, supposedly. There's these S fetish balls that are connected to some of these yahoos. Like this is all weird. And I'm not naming anybody a suspect, but I'm telling you, I don't like body language. I don't like some of the red flags in this case. I am more focused on the waiters and the chefs. But there's just certain people in this case that when I look at them, they creep me out. There's certain people in this case, including a female, who is one of the large cast of characters in this 3-ring circus, that just seeing the photographs. And these are people I don't even know, never met. They could be wonderful people. But these are people, there are certain people in this case that I wouldn't want to be neighbors with. Because I'd be like, remember yesterday I mentioned that there was a neighbor and he moved into the unit where there was a famous model and she was young. Oh, she was gorgeous. Considered her a friend. I've actually seen her since. She came over here to pick up a package once, and we follow each other on Instagram. And there's her apartment's been a revolving door, and there's been this creeper guy that I've had my eye on. And I just found out yesterday after I did that video that apartment is vacant. And I saw the manager just before I came on the air showing that apartment to somebody, and I'm like, oh, thank God. Because he was only there like a few months, but I just knew like something's off with this guy. Something's off bad. And the person that was parking in his space is apparently someone that lives in the building next door that's just occasionally being assigned that space temporarily. It's somebody that's got like a sporty car that's really loud, and it leaves. It comes and goes all night long. Like, I'm like, is this somebody who's a dealer? Like, and it's going, and it scares my cat. I'm sure it scares my rabbit. The walls shake, and I'm like, oh my God, is that him? And then I found out, no, that space was empty because that guy that I suspected upstairs that's across the way he's gone. So there's another problem tenant that's out of here. But now I'm just dealing with the fact that they are assigning that parking space to someone that apparently lives in the other building that's owned by the same management firm. And that person has a very loud car with a Hemi engine, and it's like da 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 da. And I can't sleep because all night long that thing is going in and out, in and out. And like, are they doing deliveries at 4 a.m.? Like, I don't think anybody's ordering DoorDash at this time. Like, something's up. Like, I don't even want to know who it is. And you can never see the person in the car during the daytime because all the windows are blacked out, which in LA is highly illegal. It's missing a front plate. The windows are blacked out, and it just comes and goes in the middle of the night. And I thought it was that guy, but it wasn't, because his apartment is vacant. So, I'm partially relieved about that. I'm hoping they rent it very soon so that someone else will park there instead of the guy that's like got the big Hemi engine and is like da 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 da. It's almost like someone that would have a Harley and they'd be right outside your window going rum, 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 with a broken tailpipe or something, and you're just like, oh my god. Can you imagine if every single neighbor, had like a Harley or a car with a broken tailpipe? Which, by the way, that's illegal here too because of our smog rules. But or they had like the Hemi under the hood, and we live on a busy street, but in the middle of the night, people actually sleep in LA. It's not like New York City where it's rolling all night long. People go to bed in LA, and it gets quiet in the middle of the night. So when he turns out, he floors it like, like, oh God, it's always something. It's always something. But yeah, I would probably do terrible if I was, out in the desert or in the backwoods somewhere, because I'd be like, oh my God, it's too quiet. Or are we safe? Get it on, PI. Thank God is right. You may sleep a little better. Yeah. Yeah, I saw that car today too, and it was parked next to a vacant lot that's next to the freeway, and I'm like, oh, that car's like over here. Like, there's a street behind that building that's like Celebrity Row, and I'm like, why is somebody parked up on that fenced off private lot? And I was like, oh, it's that guy. I know. Lady Shore says, yes, always something. Can you imagine living where Nancy did, alone, so dark and deserted? Yeah. That's just not safe. I wouldn't want to be out in that big house by myself, and I'm young enough to be her daughter, and I'm a PI, and I'm packing heat. I don't want to ever have to use it, but I am trained if they, God forbid, happened. But still, I would be terrified. They said there was like 6 doors into that house between the front and the side and the back. Like, I have an apartment where there's 2 windows and there's 1 door, and everything is secured. And I have multiple cameras, amongst other things. And that's all I'm going to say. Like, I'm ready. But it's still scary at night. Like, who's out there? Because there's just all these zombies that are out on the street now. You don't know. Nothing is safe anymore. We're living in an upside down world. But yeah, that would just, can you imagine the fear? Especially if she wouldn't have slept with her hearing aids on, and apparently she couldn't hear anything. So they could have been in her house making all kinds of noise. They could have been tearing the doors off the hinges, and she wouldn't have heard it, and she's asleep, allegedly, if she even made it to her bed that night. But based on what Savannah said, I think she did. And somebody came into her bedroom, No, it's way too big, her home, and all alone, being elderly and all. Yeah. And I'm sure Savannah thinks about that now. I mean, she couldn't make it most days from the front door to the mailbox, which isn't very far. When you have a loud car, you can just hear. That's how people are, especially men. Terrifying. It is terrifying. P6, grandson and I are watching. Have tacos tonight with a side of knickers. What are knickers? Or nikers? What is that? Hope they find Nancy. Me too. What's a niker or a knicker? What is that? Tacos sounds good. Now I want tacos. Oh, it's chocolate candy. I want chocolate candy. Oh. Daily, I think of her and pray she will be found, says Lady Shore. Yeah, I don't eat much during the day, and I had a couple of boiled eggs before I came on, and that was it. But tacos does sound good. Even April Jenkins says that. Tacos! The whole area in Tucson there looks very scary. I wouldn't feel comfortable. I'd have to be locked and loaded all the time. And you know what? The Catalina foothills, though, is a fairly safe neighborhood, supposedly. But if you were a neighbor there, you'd have to be thinking, like, because they still don't know who did this and why. Is this some, random bad guys out there? And remember, whoever did this, they weren't successful. They didn't get the money. Unless it's a family member who wanted her dead so that they could later have her declared dead so that they could inherit everything. But I hope that's not the case. I love a lot of queso. Yeah, that'd probably be too hard on my delicate stomach, the queso, but I love the authentic Mexican tacos that we have. Where are you at, P6? Do you have access to authentic tacos, or did you cook them? Are they homemade tacos? Are they restaurant tacos? Were they DoorDash tacos? Because now I want me some tacos. Lady Shore says, this day and age, crime is everywhere. Yes, so lock the doors and be aware of surroundings when out and about. Always. I've always said here, and this is true, some of the most dangerous things that have ever happened in my career have happened in good neighborhoods. Expensive, rich neighborhoods like Beverly Hills, Pacific Palisades, Malibu. That's where I've been in the biggest danger. Now, have I had people want to shoot me in the hood? Yes, I have. But the most shootings I've been around in my life haven't even happened on my PI job. They've happened, where I was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. And, the gun battle went down. Last time I was near a gun battle, my heart started beating so fast just from adrenaline, which did save me, but I thought I was going to have a heart attack because I couldn't get my heart to slow down. And in hindsight, I should have called 911 immediately. Like, okay, there was just a shooting and the police are here and LAPD is here and CNN is here and my heart is beating so fast I'll probably be dead before you get here. Because if I had been the age that I am now and my heart went up that quickly, I'd probably be dead in under 5 minutes. And I never had my heart do that before, where it just like adrenaline kicked in. And I mean, it was probably going 300 beats a minute. It was just like a boat motor, and I could feel it like through my chest. And I was trying to talk to somebody on the phone and I was like, I never want to have to, at my age, I don't want to have anything catastrophic. I don't want to see a bad car accident, a plane crash. I don't want a catastrophic earthquake in the middle of the night. A few months ago, some lady that apparently just landed at the airport and she came to this building to help somebody who was in crisis. And shortly after she arrived, the person went into a severe seizure and she didn't know what to do. And she didn't even know the address where she was at. And she panicked and she ran out upstairs on one of the walkways and started screaming, ah! Everybody came running out and I thought somebody was dead and my heart was going bump, 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 bump. And me and the neighbor, some Russian girl, we were hugging each other because we were both so scared, like, oh my God, and they did have medical help. And, we, opened the doors for the fire department and got them into our driveway so they could haul them away faster. And I did see that guy afterwards. He did live. He did leave. Apparently he was evicted prior to all that happening. And, I said, hey, are you so-and-so? And remember, I'm April. And we talked for a few minutes. I gave him a goodbye hug and never see the guy again. But I was like, are you the driver? Are you the lady that was screaming? Because I thought this dude was dead. Like, oh my God, you scared me so bad. Cat's in the house. Hey April, I am late, but I'm here. Yeah, I'm just getting ready to go off the air. But I'm too old for scary stuff to happen. It's like when we had the Northridge quake. Whenever we've had like really big quakes, there's always a few people that die that are elderly. They don't die because they got crushed to death or hit on the head, but they died because they had a heart attack, like the fear. And that's probably what happened to Nancy. She probably, died almost immediately from fear. You would think all the video cameras And then those flock cameras on the street and so forth, that people would be afraid to do something, but they're not. I know. Yeah. Somebody really, really wanted to do this because those cameras are everywhere. And that's why I'm surprised that they haven't put all the data together yet and they haven't figured this out. You can always watch the replay, Cats in the House. Thank you for the 2 super chats I got today. And thank you, whoever sent the 50 cents in jewels, because that was at the very beginning of the show. But I appreciate it, because I got to pay my $291.58 power bill on September 1st, which is the same, or by September 1st. Well, it says due date September 1st, so I guess September 1st would be okay. But that's the same day I pay my rent and my secondary utility bill for the building. I've had many scary, horrific, traumatizing experiences. Retired LEO in the house. Oh. Are you retired LEO, or there's just a retired LEO in your house? Yeah, I don't want any more scary experiences. I just don't want to deal with it anymore. Kelsers, April and Chat, I hope you have a wonderful evening. I'm going to grab dinner. I got wings. That sounds good. And loaded potato skins. Can you send them my way, Kelsers? Loaded potato skins. I haven't had potato skins in decades. That sounds great. You have like some sour cream and some chives on those potato skins. How do I make me some of that? Send me the recipe, Kelsers. Because I got the mini air fryer now. So I could cook the wings, and then I could, put the wings out and then put the potato skins in. Cats in the House, it's me. Kelsers, thank you for the custom channel emojis. Yeah, those are for my channel members, my pips. And I hope at the beginning of this, I didn't offend anybody when I said, listen, if you want to reach me through the business email that's for this channel, aprildavispi@gmail. If you'd like me to shout out your letter in the chat, put that in there. If you want me to keep it quiet, put it in there, because I'm not going to read it to the public. Or send me, a letter in the mail. But don't be blowing up my Facebook and my IMs and my DMs and it's out of control, people. And I'm so glad I know all you guys. I love you all. But, it's just like I don't want someone showing up at my door someday going, hey, I watch you on YouTube. No, that wouldn't be cool. I mean, I'm not that big, though. I'm not like Corey Williams big. One of his channels now, I just checked, it's got 1.3 billion, and it's just a kid's channel. But I knew him from everything else, like Dude Like Hella and Live Each Day and S&P Films. I've been watching the guy for like a million years. But some silly kids channel where he does Silly Crocodile, it has like 1.3 billion views. And I'm so happy right now because my channel, it's up to 1.3 million. And I'm like, oh my God. And that's just one of his multiple channels. He's probably got other channels in the past that I don't even know about, but I'm happy with that. It doesn't matter to me that it's not a billion, that it's a million. What restaurant, Roxanne? Because Nancy had dinner over at their house that night. Do they have of when she and Tommaso left the restaurant? They apparently had dinner at Annie Tommaso's house. I know they have them when they got to the house, but what about when they were dry? When they were dry? Oh, driving, do you mean? And left the restaurant. Yeah, they apparently didn't go to a restaurant. They ate at Annie's house, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about, Roxanne, the restaurant. I know there's a Circle K store that they were investigating for video. And that Circle K, just coincidentally happens to be near Annie Tommaso's house. I've seen it on Google Maps. They were very interested in that store. And it's weird because since this case happened, there were some other YouTubers that were out at night, like, live streaming, and they were driving around and they pulled into a Circle K and they were like, look, there's a white Kia Soul, but they didn't hang around to see who came out and got into the white Kia Soul. Because remember, there was somebody that picked up on a Ring video later on in the back end of the neighborhood, like a speeding car coming out in the middle of the night, and they think it was a white Kia Soul. And these two guys, they were like, dude, look, white Kia Soul. Like, it's a small town. I'm sure there are a lot of white Kia Souls, though, especially in a desert. Because a lot of people like to have white cars in hot climates. And Kia is a very inexpensive car. So a lot of young people driving, the Kia Souls. But I just thought that was funny. But they were looking into the Circle K convenience store that was near Annie Tommaso's. But apparently they had like a game night over at Annie's on that Saturday night. And then supposedly he drove her home. And they have interviewed the Uber driver, who was a female who picked her up. It was somebody that Nancy had used before. I don't know how she was able to specifically request that particular Uber driver, but, maybe she drove her privately. But she was Ubered to their house and then allegedly returned home by Tommaso. And there's no evidence that shows that she wasn't. But, the police haven't revealed, like, what they've seen at these different intersections or on different LPRs or different flock cameras. That's all going to come out when there's a trial, trust me. Because the evidence has been so compromised in this case, someone's going to fight it tooth and nail. When somebody gets arrested, they're going to say, but it wasn't me. And they're going to hire a really good, famous defense attorney who's going to want to represent them just for the publicity alone. And they're going to question. They're going to question everything, from the blood to the evidence in the house, to every hair, every fiber, every camera, every intersection. Trust me, this will be a very long trial if they ever arrest anybody. Roxanne, you're too nice. I'm sure it'll be a billion soon. I wish. No evidence she was actually even taken home, actually. We don't know that. I don't know if they have any proof of that. No, they weren't at a restaurant. They were at Annie and Tommaso's house, which is about within 10 minutes away. I find it hard to believe nothing was on video at all from the drive from A&T's home to her own home. We don't know that for sure. They've never said. I'm sure they have all this. They may even have somebody in mind and they're just waiting for more evidence. And we still don't know why certain people have disappeared. And it could be a very logical explanation. Street cameras, yeah, they're everywhere. Yeah, we don't know. We don't know what the police have. But we know that a lot of the evidence at the house was compromised because the scene was released too soon. We still don't even know if the ransom notes are legit. Yeah, I don't know, Roxanne. But I would love to know where the heck they are. A&T, I just want to know. I want to know why Annie's not in Tucson looking for her mother. Remember OJ, when he got out of jail, he was like, I'm going to spend the rest of my life looking for the real killers. That never happened. That never happened. There's a lot of red flags. There's a lot of body language I don't like, but I'm not saying that they're involved in any way, because I don't know that they are or they are not. I don't have access to the evidence. All I have access to is everything that you guys are seeing too. But I do have 42 years of detective experience under my belt. And this case is just, this stinks bad. It's fishy. Lady Short, just always think of a lady her age sleeping peacefully, minding her own life in her home for 50 years. Probably planned her day for following day. Her journal writing and just all of it makes me tear up. I know. What a way to have, what a way for your life to end. I'm speaking my chat text, so it may not make sense. Okay, well, that explains it. Because I don't understand some of these things, and I'm trying. It's terrible. Of course, you know, I don't deserve to have had to deal with my health stuff. Everybody here that's got a health issue, especially we get a lot of elderly people in here, people that are even older than me. You know, everybody's got something, and it's not fair. But, you know, it is tragic. And people get upset like, well, this case has too much attention, and what about some other case that doesn't have that same attention? Well, they're not related to somebody who's famous, who's on TV every day. That's just the way the ball rolls. You know, there are thousands of missing people. Only certain cases are going to be big in the news. OJ did look in the mirror a lot. You know, I know a lot about that case because I was right in the middle of that. I worked in Brentwood when that happened. And I knew a lot of people, or some people in the sheriff's department, and a lot of people that I even worked with that were LAPD detectives on the west side. So there's a lot I know about that. And I'm not even going to go there. Lady Shore says, to end like that, yes, it's devastating. Absolutely. But nobody seems to be looking for her, including the family. And, you know, Savannah, especially, you know, she's really close to Mark Kelly. She could make the ball roll. She could get things going and say, I don't like the way the FBI is handling this. I don't like the way the Pima County Sheriff's is handling this. Remember, they're not speaking to each other. She could get on TV and beg the Cajun Navy to come in if she wanted to. She could hire 1,000 people to be passing out flyers and hitting doors. She could have a whole team of PIs. Now, maybe she does. But there's no evidence so far that she does, because somebody would have come forward and said, hey, you know, there was a PI that showed up at my door that was working for Savannah Guthrie. And not one neighbor has come forward and said, hey, I just got a visit from a PI who's working for Savannah. And even if they were told to keep it quiet, you know, somebody would talk. Somebody would call a tabloid like, hey, I got a story for you. I just got a knock on my door, and it was Savannah Guthrie's PI. And, you know, how much are you willing to pay me for this story? Trust me, if that was happening, it would come out. Why is nobody looking for her? It's like within the first 5 days, they knew she was gone. They knew she was dead. And everybody gave up, and everybody went home and went on with their lives. Makes absolutely no sense, especially if you don't know who did it and why, and your own family may also be in immediate danger. Why is nobody looking to solve this case? Why are they not looking for Nancy Guthrie? This is not right. Oh. Cats in the House says, I agree, something is very hinky about this whole case. That, my dear, that's a law enforcement PI word. Hinky. I like that. I like that you knew that word. Lady Short, Savannah Guthrie has the podium to speak for sure. I just find it bizarre not anyone in the family is in Tucson and organizing searches and speaking with the public. Exactly. Roxanne says she agrees. Yes, Lady Shore, that's true. We've been talking about this here for 200 days. YouTube streamers are the only ones who have searched for her and continue on their own too. Very few of them, but they are dedicated. Yes, and thank God for the boots on the ground. And I'm, even though I can't go to Tucson, I'm trying to keep this case relevant. And, you don't have to agree with me or you don't have to like me. You don't even have to watch me. But you know what? I still have a lot of people watching these live videos on Nancy Guthrie kidnapping case because the whole world wants to know. I mean, I've heard from Australia, New Zealand, Syria, Iran, Israel, the United States, Canada, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina. We've got South Africa has come in, England, Scotland, Ireland, Iceland, Malta, Italy, France. Those are just some of the countries that are coming in saying that this case is big. I have people from Australia that come in and say, this case is huge here. Remember, Savannah was born in Melbourne, Australia. The case is huge in Australia and New Zealand. It's huge in Europe. But yet some of the homeless, not all, but some of the homeless in Tucson that are in Tucson, they don't know this is going on. Oh. Yes, we can't all be there. As I cannot, I do pray for her and I hope she is found. Exactly, Lady Shore. The world is watching, yes. Something about the son-in-law tingles my spidey senses. I just don't like the body language. But I'm not saying that they're involved in this, but I don't like the body language, even if they're not involved in this and they have no idea who did it. I don't like the body language. I don't want them living next door to me. And I'm more freaked out by her than I am him. I get the heebie-jeebies and the creeps. Like, this person can't possibly be Savannah's sister. But in my family, it's the same thing. Apples and oranges. Oh. Jason, thank you. I can see why people may not agree with you or even not watch you, but I don't know why anyone wouldn't like you. Thank you. Thank you. Cats in the House says agreed. There's a lot of red flags in this. Because even if they're not involved at all, and they get her declared dead or she's found dead, they may be coming into an estate. Remember, supposedly the guy hasn't been on the roster at his school for a very long time, and he may not have even taught the entire 25-26 school year. And unless you're writing songs for Taylor Swift, I don't know how a poet makes any money. Then I've heard a rumor that this jewelry warehouse is somehow connected to a nonprofit C corporation. I haven't even looked that up yet. Like, huh? Like she's just collecting donations for something? Like, who's paying the bills? Who's paying their taxes? Who's paying for the house while they're not there? They got to be living somewhere. They got to eat. Who's paying? Nobody's got a job. Did Savannah open up her checkbook and she's just writing a check every month? Here you go. Or are they staying at, are they staying at Cameron's and his wife's and they're eating them out of house and home? Are they with relatives in Italy? Hiding for their protection? Or hiding from the cops? I mean, I don't know. Mostly those helicopters sent the hiding. Thank you. Yes, Doug Dillner. I'm 45, had 2 open heart surgeries, 2 hearing aids, 2 lung transplants. Wow. And legally blind, you just have to remind yourself someone else has it worse. Yes. Whenever I get down about my medical stuff, I always think about actor Christopher Reeve. Like, wow. That guy suffered for 9.5 years before that ended his life. And I've been going through this for about 10 years, and I'm like, I look at him and I'm like, wow, he really was Superman, wasn't he? Yes, exactly. We have that in common, Doug. We are walking miracles. We are survivors. Obviously, we were meant to be here. But I didn't think I was meant to be on this planet because this was going to happen. And I was going to get on the internet and talk about it to 2 people. And then, my subscriber count was going to go from 2K to 3K to 4K to 5K to 6K to 7K and 8K, just like, who knew? Um, and now it's stuck like it was when it was at that 3,600 mark and it got stuck. It's stuck. And every day it's up, down, up, down, up, down. And it's just like, I gotta make some more videos about something. I gotta have extra hours in my day. But I have so much medical stuff I have to deal with this month and next month. Oh, just like, I'm just tired of it. Now I know when people get old and they pass, and people say, well, they're out of pain. May they rest in peace. I understand that now. But for me, I feel like it's not time to go yet. And I'm telling you, nobody would put up with the BS of my girls, my bunny and my cat. Nobody would put up with them. It says Mostly Doll's helicopter sent the hiding. That's what it says. That's what I saw on the screen, and it says on the text, did you push the wrong one? Brian Ray. Welcome in. 96 minutes into this. I do need to get out of this because I got to go watch my game in Denver. Did anybody see that game last night? Something weird happened. And I can't say it here because I won't say anything that would make people sick on the air. And I get really upset if people put messages about things like this. But one of the players in the game became physically ill. That's all I'm going to say. And everybody was like, oh, he's just dehydrated, or, oh, it's just the altitude sickness. But apparently it's not. Apparently the guy's got some kind of stomach issue. And that means that they're all going to have it because they just took the plane. And there's no recirculated air, or there's no fresh air in an airplane. It's all recirculated. And they're all, they're on the bus together, they're in the planes together, they're in the elevators together. Trust me, that whole Dodger staff is going to go down based on what I saw last night. And I almost cried for the guy. I was like, oh my God, that must have been so embarrassing, to be in front of millions of people watching you on TV. And there was a player that became physically ill on the field. And he just immediately, marched off that field. And he was in they call it the medical room. Oh my God. They are, Lady Shore. And I'm like, is there something going around this time of year? Oh God. Something bad. And this is not the time of year for that. And I felt really, really bad. And we've already lost 5 or 6 catchers this year. We don't have anybody left. So Lady Shore says a flu of some type. Who knows? I pray for that man, because there's nothing worse than that. Jackie West, good night, April, and everyone. Enjoy the game tonight. I'm gonna try, and I'm gonna eat something, because I can't get my energy. I just feel deflated every day. And maybe the heat's making it worse, but I keep telling, my doctor's like, we need to know what this is, because I felt this way when I had stage 3 breast cancer and nobody believed me. And I had to self-diagnose and get treated, and it was 3 years too late because it had already spread to my nodes. And part of it is my fault, but the medical industry, they just, especially when you go to the specialist, they're like, well, I'm just here for your heart. Or the oncologist is like, well, I'm just here for your cancer. Or the kidney guy's like, well, I'm just here, your urologist, for your surgery. Somebody listen to me. Maybe my body's just tired because of everything that's happened, but I don't think I can sustain like this on my own for much longer if I don't get some type of boost. I don't know what it is that I need. I don't think there's a magic pill or a magic vitamin or supplement. You know, something's got to give, people. I'm not sure, but it should be around 540, but I need to check, Roxanne. And I have to go look at my thermostat because I think LADWP or the city of LA just put me in eco mode. So it's getting kind of hot. But everybody, thank you. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you. I got 55 cents in jewels today. Like I said, all the donations for the next, 2 weeks or less for the rest of the month is going to go for this. All the rest of the YouTube money is already accounted for August. It's coming in September, but anything I can make between, what was it, yesterday or the day before I picked this up? Yeah, the day before yesterday. So from yesterday forward, anything that I make on YouTube is going for the LADWP bill. Rest up, drink lots, make sure you eat. Really, April, oh my, this was such a symptom and now you have it again. Prayers for you, April. Can you do B12 injections? I'd have to talk to my cardiologist. I thought that before I was talking about B12 injections, and it turned out it was stage 3 cancer. Can I do an IV with vitamins and minerals? That would be up to the heart doctor. So yeah, I just need some pep. Like I said, the heat and the fact that the city is cutting off the air every 10 minutes is not helping me. But I do feel a little better after I get off the air and I hydrate and I eat. Then I feel, a little better. And I feel the best when I'm getting ready to lay down in bed at night. Like, okay, I'm starting to pick up, but now it's time to go to sleep. But I'm laying down, so maybe that just helps me rest. But it doesn't necessarily help me sleep. Yeah, there's always something to talk about, but they're always late and then they're in a hurry because, oh, I'm 4 hours behind. That's true, but I've been staying inside. I did go drop off a UPS package today on an Amazon return. A lot of us could use that too. Yeah, if you guys have a magic cure, send it my way. Hey, Tim, I'm just getting ready to go off the air, my sir, or my friend. So please, sir, go check the replay. Everybody, thank you for your channel or my channel support, or you supporting the channel is what I'm trying to say. Everybody go watch my videos and like, comment, share, and subscribe. You know the routine.